Deputy Pat Casey, please.
Count Corley. Solutions to the housing crisis are needed more than ever. The plight of over 10,000 homeless underlines the pressing need to address the housing crisis. However, it can only be done with consistent policy, resources and honesty, not through silver bullets or magic beans. This government has proven again and again that it is simply not facing the seriousness of housing in Ireland. And constant spinning and playing politics is not what our people expect from a responsible and serious government. Fianna Fáil supports in principle the removal of sale as a reason for ending tenancy. Mike Allen of Focus Ireland argues that eviction for reason of sale is now the #1 source of homelessness. He estimates that 1/3 of households are becoming newly homeless as a result of eviction due to this reason. Fianna Fáil did submit an amendment to the government's so-called Tyrrellstown Amendment that reduced the number of units in a single development from 20 to 5. This, we argued, would have offered more secure occupancy to a larger number of tenants without having a detrimental impact on the market by preventing involuntary landlords from selling their properties. This is a key. We have to balance the interventions that are needed to secure vulnerable tenancies while encouraging landlords to not only remain in the rental sector, but to enter the rental sector, particularly in key pressure point areas. The model of ownership of rental sector needs to change, but that transition needs to ensure that we don't literally throw out the tenants while we change the system. That would be irresponsible, wrong and also unnecessary. However, the government rejected our amendment and re-raised the number of units to 10 in a single development, removing an estimate 5,000 potential properties from the coverage of the provision. They did this on the basis of legal advice, arguing that they could be more robustly defended against constitutional challenges. There also is a strong policy argument why we need to be careful in how we design new tenant security provision. We should not introduce provisions that will unintentionally act as a barrier to persons with distressed buy-to-let mortgages from being able to dispose of their properties. This is because we all know 90% of the Irish landlords, covering an estimate of 85% of the rental properties, own only 1 or 2 properties, and many of these are involuntary landlords. They are not the enemy. They are part of the solution. We cannot simply dish out of date ideological battles between extreme left and hard right. There is a general consensus that a move towards a more institutional, large-scale investor in the Irish market is desirable from the perspective of advancing a more professional rental sector. To completely get rid of the sale of any reason for ending a tenancy is a blanket way, as this bill attempts to do, could stall the turnover of rental properties from smaller landlords, many of whom are involuntary landlords who are not making a profit and are often in areas of negative equity, to more professional landlords. Like it or not, completely removing sale of property as a ground for terminating a tenancy would not be constitutional. There is a serious flaw, and one that cannot be ignored or indeed swept under the carpet. Left unamended, this bill would in fact accelerate the exodus of landlords by promoting fire sales by those who could afford to leave the market during the period of legal uncertainty, in the course further worsening the situation. A far better approach, one that is consistent with the Constitution protection of property rights and balance of protecting the common good, would be to remove the sale as a reason for ending tenancies in most circumstances, but not in all circumstances. Such approach could be robustly defensive against constitutional challenge. This can indeed be done in a number of ways. One of the ways that has been discussed is to insert a provision that would enable landlords to remove a tenant in order to sell their property if it can be proven that it significantly affects the market sale price of the property by comparison to a vacant possession. Such a provision would be much more effective in offering greater security to a larger number of tenants without leading to infringement of constitutional rights and widespread uncertainty in the rental sector, which the current Sinn Féin proposals would have. The common good clause of property rights constitutional provision would enable, in my view, the government of the day Given the harm to the common good that the housing crisis presents, strong powers to ensure that our people, all of our people, have access to the basic human right of a shelter, a home. As Deputy O'Brien knows, the Housing Committee has agreed a proactive and a responsible manner to work with the Government's residential tenancy bill, to strengthen what we believe is its weaknesses and to agree a general agreed position. This is a way that needs to be further worked out, and we in Fianna Fáil will work with all members of the Housing Committee to provide workable solutions. Outside of the committee, Fianna Fáil, through our confidence and supply agreement, have kept the Government under pressure on housing, and we've delivered some significant improvements. We have secured increased social housing funding in the last budget. The overall capital budget for housing has gone from 1.065 million in 2018 to 1.34 billion, a 25% increase. This includes social housing and homeless capital funding. We have forced the housing capital budget to increase from 430 million in budget 26 to 1.34 million today. This is a 900 million increase, 300%. Fianna Fáil have secured a new affordable housing scheme. Only 20 million was allocated to affordable housing scheme in 2018, with no units delivered or regulation even signed off on. Fianna Fáil have established a revamped scheme worth over 100 million per annum over the next 3 years. This will deliver about 7,500 units at an average price of 200,000 for ordinary income workers. We have forced measures to keep landlords in the market with tax incentive to stabilise rents. Landlords selling up and removing units from the market is actually driving up rents. 4,000 landlords left in the last 12 months. We established a 100% mortgage interest relief measure to help keep landlords in the market to keep up the supply in the short term while more homes are built. Further measures to incentivise long-term lease are in development. We have addressed the serious delays in the red tape in the Department and local authorities. Delays in procurement and the four-step approval process for social housing is crippling delivery. We've tripled the discretion of local authorities to build homes without going through the administrative routes. Local authorities can now build up to 6 million or 30 homes through the fast-track process. More work is needed in this sector. With regard to the crucial areas social housing and homelessness, Social Housing Fund has been ramped up by 270 million. Homeless numbers are still unacceptably high and fewer than 10,000. These figures are also disputed by many which claims that it's as high as 12,000. In reality, 10,000 is far too high for a developed country like our own, while thousands of children's lives are being ruined by homelessness. Fianna Fáil supports renters and landlords. We need both for a rental market to function. Budget 2019 was not a landlord's budget. A rental market needs landlords if it is to work. It does incentivise landlords to stay in the system. Some 40,000 landlords left the system from 2012 to 2018, including the 4,000 I've mentioned already. We need to keep these, or else there will be fewer units available to rent and rents will rise. Our mortgage interest relief is targeted to small landlords with 2 or less units to keep them in the system. In conclusion, Fianna Fáil approves in principle the idea of limiting the right to sale on grounds of termination of tenancy. However, it must be constitutional. There are serious questions whether this bill meets that requirement. In addition, it may be the unintended consequences of accelerating the exodus of landlords from the rental market, while the legal cases are fought in the courts. Fianna Fáil previously restrictions on the grounds of sale to 10 units in the 2016 should be reduced to 5, which will protect the vast bulk of landlords in the state while ensuring security of tenure for tenants in institutional and landlords' owned units. Ultimately, the key to addressing the homeless crisis is increasing the supply. This must involve attracting renting landlords into the system, not penalising them. Cutting through government red tape and increasing capital expenditure on the provision of social housing is also essential. Thank you.